Hello, guys. Welcome to the Pakurus here again with another guest. I'm here today with Kareem Mohammed, and he has been doing some great things here in Zambia. And so I met him actually through a booking Airbnbs or booking.com,
Booking.com.
booking.com, and found out his story. We got to talking, and guys, he just has an amazing story that I would like to share with you guys. So, Kareem, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm all good.
Yeah, all
All good.
good.
Yes, sir.
That's good. So, what are we looking at? What's behind us right now?
We are at the site. It's not finished yet, but we're at the site of our restaurant. We've called it the Promised Land, and this is going to be the first Caribbean restaurant here in Lusaka.
The first one. There's no Caribbean. You can't
No,
get no jerk chicken around here.
no, unless we make it or someone, there are a couple Jamaicans
Okay.
here and there, and you
Okay.
can get a taste, but there's no establishment as
Okay.
such. Yeah.
Okay. Guys,
So
if
this
you
will be
know
the
where we
first
can
one.
get some jerk chicken, in Zambia, we need to find out.
Yeah.
We need to find out.
It'll be here.
It'll
Just
be
give me a
here,
few
it'll be
more
here.
weeks. You can get
All
that
right, all right. So in a few weeks, you're saying this is gonna be well. What's the plan? You feel like
Well,
this is gonna be
you
running?
can see they're making chairs over here. So we were having our furniture built. These guys are doing some of the. They came on cue, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
These guys are doing some of our concrete. We're getting concrete sculptures. They're sculpting some of the concrete on the walls into styles and shapes. They're actually building a concrete bar. In there's our main dining room. Over there is going to be a playground, and we'll have some artistic space for the artists who work with us to showcase their stuff. And the sort of mainstay is going to be our two swimming pools here.
Okay.
So that'll be cool. And then they're also building a custom grill just over on that side, which is a bit like the Taj Mahal of grills,
Yeah.
where you can put different meats and pots and all stuff. So there'll be like open air cooking here, open air cooking at the back, chairs and Caribbean music playing all day long. So that's the plan.
Well, like, give us a little backstory. How did this start? Because you're originally from.
I'm born in the UK.
Okay.
Obviously the accent has
Giving it away.
here. And I've been there, I guess, pretty much all my life.
Okay.
We've been, obviously there are whatever issues there are for black people who live out, who live in the West or in the UK. There's loads of, I think institutional racism is something that they've studied and found, but we've been living it all the days of our lives. So I'm looking for how can we find a space where we can build and, just have a self-determined reality, live in a space that's comfortable, that we've designed for ourselves, for our families, for our children, and as a community that we could be comfortable. So that was what that was. And part of it, as we come here, part of your culture is your food. Part of your culture is your music. Part of your culture is being able to congregate together. And many of the other people who come here, like the Indians or the Turkish, they'll have that for themselves. And we thought it was going to be very important for us to have a Caribbean hub. And many of even the Zambians, many of them have been affected by Caribbean music and Caribbean culture. Many of them have traveled. If any of them have lived in the States or the UK, they all know what it is when it comes down to Caribbean food. So they're really excited about having it. We've done some taste testers here and some evenings and weekends, and it's gone really well. So my main point with it is a space for us to express our culture and a hub for us to come to when we're here in Lusaka, but also a really good way to interact with the local community and share the best of what we've got.
Okay, that's awesome. And the name of the restaurant was?
It's going to be called the Promised Land.
The Promised Land. How did Promised Land come about?
A brother of ours we were all at the house trying to come up with stuff, and we was all talking, brainstorming, whatever. And like a little girl, 9 years old, the daughter of one of our friends here, she came up with the name, but we'd already been talking about I don't know if you're familiar, but like in the book of Genesis, chapter 15, I think it's verse 13, and it says something like, "Know for a surety your seed will serve in a foreign land for 400 years and be afflicted every day of those." It's kind of our story.
Okay.
So when we're coming back to Africa, and we're coming back and looking to build with the substance we got from abroad, to us, it's like the Promised Land. So it's more of it isn't, but it's not that this is the Promised Land, but it's an ode to where we want to go to, where we're going in our minds, where we're going with this whole plan of actually really developing and building what we want for ourselves. And if you can do that, you make heaven with your hands.
Wow. And you also mentioned about a farm that you guys got going on, or is that farm
Yeah.
wanting to?
Do
What's
you
your
know
idea
what?
with
When we
that?
came, food, clothing, and shelter is kind of like the basics of life. And I was inspired to add food, clothing, shelter, education, and information. But the first one was food. So we purchased some farmland, and that farmland's about 2.5 hours outside of Lusaka. But we struggled when we were trying to plant or work there. It's very difficult to farm where you don't live. And if you're bringing technology instruments to that space, a lot of time when you leave, you just left valuable equipment. And it's quite difficult to secure in a wide open space because our first farm is like 3,000 acres. So we've kept it like, okay, we're going to get to this. But obviously we are not proficient farmers. So what we've done is about 400 meters up the road, we've taken a much smaller space, 3.5 acres. And this is what we're raising the funds and getting the people in place to really build a much more manageable local farm that's very close to where we live, that we can be there every day. And on the outside of that, we want to build a farmer's market and have people who are selling produce from other farms come and sell, and then start building those connections with local growers. So so we could start taking some control of the food that we eat. It's almost criminal that we don't have, like you don't have any food security. If they close the supermarkets, we lose our minds. And one of the greatest things about here, Africa in general, most of the locals have access to producing land. Like almost every Zambian can lay their hands on a hectare of land and grow. Maybe it's not, right next door, but they have access to land. So we've got to partner with them. We bring what we can of our resources. They bring what they can of their land, and we work together and build. So that's it's imperative that we do that. So that's like a really major part of what we're doing is getting this farm up and running.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely have taken me around, and the project is a very massive project that you guys got going on here. And I'm just asking myself, just like, how's a guy from the UK decide he wants to come over here and build a restaurant in Zambia, and just at the way it's going right now, it's like,
Yeah, he's smart
what?
enough to know
Like
he
you,
can't.
you,
That's what he
you out of
does.
your
He
mind.
knows he can't, so he gets other people to work together to do it. So what you're seeing is like I end up being a figurehead, but I am aware every day that this is not something I could have done by myself. When I had the idea originally, there was no finance. There was just the idea, and people came together with their bits and bobs. I just put everything I had. Chemo, who you met,
Yeah.
literally burned his bridges, came here with everything he had, and we've been working like on this project day and night for like at least the last 5 years. So these things are coming up, and it looks like, oh, how did this happen? But we've been as a group, over 25 of us as a group have been doing and supporting and helping this for 5 years. So it isn't an individual effort. If it was, you'd be sitting outside. As a group effort,
Yeah.
that's why we can look.
Yeah.
The chef came the other day and he's the one who got, he had the builders come in to do this concrete work and the chairs. So I'm sort of like stewarding it. You know what I mean? Like I'm captain in the ship, but I can't do this by myself. And I think one of the reasons we don't get the projects that we want built the way we want them built is everybody's looking for this one special guy, and there's no such thing. There's no such thing. Much of the things that you see that we marvel at, they might give you one person to look at, but there's hundreds of people involved. And the sooner we can let go of the ego and just know it's going to be a group effort. And some days I just do not have the strength, and it's happened where I'm just not able to deal with it. I had like some personal situations recently. It's just knocked me out. But when it took me out, others came right in and kept that going. When I came back and found we'd moved on. So, 100% group effort. It's a group effort, and we're always looking for new people to join the group. But the idea that any one person is so great, they ask me, "Oh, so why did you choose?" I don't know. I just went with the spirit, and it is what it is. I'm not here to laud my strategy or anything like that. We're blessed, and the blueprint to do what we're doing has been with Black people a long time. And if you get a chance to study and see some of the academic papers that have been written by Africans in Africa on the development of Africa, it's always been known. But do you know that rich people will buy that and put it aside? And if you want to see it, you'll have to pay maybe $500, $1,000, and they buy those papers and put them away. So you can get money to do a study, but you can't get any money from the World Bank to do real progressive programs. So what we have to do is come together and fund this stuff ourselves. It doesn't have to be that big. Put your hat where your hands can reach. We'll just build what we can build. And that's what we're doing here. And I'm like, just every day I'm blessed. I'm really pleased and I enjoy it. And meeting new people and having people come and lend their hand, even as you're here today. It's, yeah, man, it's excellent. It's excellent. And I think the most important thing is we just understand it's group work.
It's a group work. Oh, that's definitely amazing, and definitely understandable. And like with that, sure, it comes with a lot of challenges. What what are some of your challenges that you face doing business on the continent and in Zambia?
Some of the challenges you face, okay, and you know what it is? There has to be challenges, and you can't get away from them. The first thing you've got to do, and I have to give this as a backdrop, because if I just tell you what the challenges are, I want people to run away and go, you see, I told you, these niggas were.
Oh.
So if I don't give the backdrop, then you're going to get the wrong impression.
Okay.
So as a backdrop, you have to understand that we as the diaspora have been away for 450 years. We have been away from our family, away from our language, away from our culture, away from our names, away from our languages. We've been with a strange people and we have learned strange customs. Yes, we've picked up some money. Yes, we picked up some degrees and some professional knowledge, but we've been away. Much of what we've learned has not made us love ourselves enough to really understand what it is to build as a community. That's why, as long as I've been doing this 5 years, I'm blessed to have maybe 27 individuals working with me and maybe about 30 or 40 supporters who help on other things. We don't do this en masse. It's a niche thing because we've never learned how to serve ourselves, right? We mistrust anything black. We mistrust. It's easy pickings to lie or to cheat one of our own, but we're quite nervous about doing that with the children of our former slave masters. On the flip side, the people who were colonized in here, after the same, after colonization has taken place here, they're not in control. People who are not our best friends are in control. And now we've been raised to laud the Caucasian image of Jesus. Now we look at them as something special and ourselves as something not so special. So what happens is we've been trained into this, and what we now need to do is start training ourselves out of those behaviors. So what are the challenges? The challenges are things like our mistrust of each other. Mm-hmm. The challenges are our mistreatment of each other. Once we can get over that hump, it's our lack of unity in a smaller nutshell, because we're not taught how to do that. In Africa, they do better, I think. People have their own opinions. I think they do better in terms of like the family nucleus.
Yeah.
Like they have that.
Yeah.
But then in terms of like for the community or for the nation and really building, it's not there. The wanting for your brother what you want for yourself, or treating others how you'd want to be treated, needs to happen more. We've just got to learn how to love ourselves and love each other. And if we could do that, we'd be fine. So things, when I'm saying it in generic terms like mistrust, but generally, so you do a deal with someone,
yeah,
you write a contract, they run off with the proceeds.
Yeah.
And that happened to us when we first came, but then it's like, all right, cool. We can give up, but what's the plan? Do we give up and now go back to the people who robbed and raped and murdered your ancestors and go, I'm better off with them than trying to, and this is sometimes the problem is this big and it's 500 years old and we want it solved in 5 minutes. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And we've just got to be able to see past each other's faults, see past each other's weaknesses, and understand most of us are victims of stuff that we really don't understand. So focus, like We know how to turn the other cheek to white folks. We don't know how to turn the other cheek to each other. If somebody black does me, say, well, that's it. I never want to speak to that person again. But you still go to work for white folks. You've forgiven them for the 400 years of slavery. You've forgiven them. You've forgiven them for chopping off arms in the Congo and feet. You forgive. That's fine. They can hang us from trees and it's okay because it wasn't actually him. But when it comes to us, that's why I don't do no business with black people. And unless we get past that, unless we can take the hit, which we've really had to do, take the hit, and I got this from Minister Farrakhan, but love them and ourselves more than we hate ourselves. If you can't get past that, we're never going to build anything. And in which case you shouldn't have tried in the first place. So it's difficult. There are challenges. Don't care. We're doing it anyway. Yes. Is there dishonest people here? Yes. But most of us, there's dishonest people everywhere. Was there not dishonest people in the UK? Are there not dishonest people in America? Are there not dishonest people in China? Just stop it. And if we want character and honesty, then help people build the systems that are necessary that build character into the young and they'll have it. That's the same way they built self-hatred into us, as they poured it into the young until it came forward, and now it's all over the place. Well, we could do the same with truth. We could do the same with actually caring for each other and for our own brothers and sisters. So challenges, oh hell yeah, but we love them. Bring them on, bring them on. Wherever the challenges are, we're working our way around it, and we're not going to stop till we get this thing done.
Wow, that's very impressive. Yeah, that's very impressive. I mean, what you've done, with here, and looking forward to seeing what the Promised Land has to offer, and
Yeah,
I'm
me
looking
too.
forward to having some jerk chicken,
Yeah.
some good food, and that's amazing. I'm glad that you took the time to speak with myself today.
Oh, thank you very much for coming. It's been excellent. We've had a good time. But
Yeah.
thank you very much
No,
for
we've
coming.
had some great chats, and you know what, guys, this is Kareem Mohammed. If you guys please subscribe, we got many more to show you. He got other projects that he is doing and that we will continue showing. So stay tuned for part 2 because we're here and we want to showcase the amazing things that people are doing on the continent, not just in Zambia, but everywhere else in Africa. And this is where it is. So thank you very much.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate your time.
Thank you.